Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very anticipated first episode of the Secure Contain podcast, where we will explore the strange and sometimes unexplainable world of the SCP Foundation. If you're new here, new to the SCP Foundation, don't worry, we're going to make sure to introduce everything as well as going through each and every article from the beginning. It may not be recommended at first, but we think it's the most fun way to go about it. I'm co host one, Jeremiah.
And I am co host 2, Nick. And I'm very excited to get started with this. We've been talking about this for a few weeks now. This Secure Contained podcast is going to be very fun. We're going to talk about every single SCP entry if we can. There's thousands of them, so that's probably not likely, but we're going to talk about a lot of them. And we'll be starting with the original one, SCP 173. And we're going to discuss hypotheticals with them, theoreticals, and maybe just riff on them and talk about how funny the writing is or how great the writing is, depending on who wrote it and how they wrote it, and if it's something worthwhile or not.
Yeah, we definitely want to start with what's considered the original, just to compare it to what comes after it. I know in general, just to clarify, me and Nick, we both are fairly inexperienced with all this. So this introduction and everything, we only know surface level information. So us going through it in this first episode as an introduction, we'll be learning probably just as much as any of you who are not familiar. But at least after this first episode, which will be the introduction, we want to make sure to go through the very first one and then compare it to all the ones that came after it. Obviously, we may not be going through them chronologically. We'll probably be going through them numerically, which I've heard is not necessarily recommended, but I don't know. It felt like a good way to go through it, and that way, people, listeners, you all can follow it. We'll probably label, oh, this episode we covered 00 whatever to 00 whatever, and just keep going that way.
Yeah, because not all of the entries are the same length. So some episodes will have multiple entries in them, or some will just have maybe parts of an entry to make entire episodes because some could be very big, some can be very small. And I know for SCP-001, that one's not actually like laid in stone. It's just
Hmm.
proposals that people have made for it. So we could have a few episodes just covering those proposals.
Oh yeah, that's one of the ones that I'm a little bit more familiar with, not necessarily with the proposals themselves, but just how it kind of works. And yeah, there could be definitely a bunch of episodes that have to do with that. We haven't really decided whether or not we'll cover some of those first before moving on to like 2 onward. But regardless, that'll be its own thing. The normal, just reading through the entries and everything, and talking about them. That'll start with number 173 as discussed, and then moving on to like number 2, and then just going down the list.
But today we'll be talking about the basics, right? Like classifications, facilities, clearance levels, and what classes of people. We'll be doing
Yeah.
that kind of stuff first,
I,
just so that we
mhm.
understand everything when we start reading the entries.
Yes. One of the really cool things about the SCP Foundation wiki is the whole website is almost based and uh, rooted in the fact that it's a collaborative piece of fiction. People get to add to it. It's almost like as you're reading it, it's supposed to be immersive. Even here on this first page, you see the Foundation Universe Hub. Um, you immediately see like this red box with white letter text, terminal session ID, error, out of bound. Like, this is the kind of stuff they like to do, especially with these redactions. It just makes it a little bit more immersive, like it's a real thing that could potentially be existing in our world today. Um, but this first page is kind of like the first guide that will get you all the preliminary information to really enjoy the content of the wiki, and it has a lot of hyperlinks. We won't be going through all of them because some of them have a lot of information. And not all of it would even be pertinent to many entries, and especially since we would be starting in like the first series, it doesn't apply to a lot of them. So a lot of it we can just get there when we get there, kind of thing. Insert Mr. Incredible. Um, but
Let's
yeah,
get there when we get there.
exactly. But obviously, there's a couple pages about the foundation, object classes, security levels, and the different foundations. Those are the things like that'll just give you a broader context and picture that in your mind you can imagine how maybe this would be written, why it's written, who's it written to, and just a better understanding of how this foundation works in this fictional world.
Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and kick us off with reading our first entry here, which is the terminal session ID error out of bounds that you said earlier. And it is from automated message to junior researcher, and then it's redacted.
I think that's
So
actually
here's what we
you.
get. Yeah, it's like written to you as if you are a new researcher in the foundation.
No,
So I'll go
specifically to
ahead and
you. You
kick
just
it
got
off.
fired.
I got fired?
Yep.
I didn't know I was fired.
Well, they must have erased your memory or something. Seems like something they do.
Well, they can do that, probably. It's like Men in Black a little bit. Alright, I'll kick us off. Welcome to the SCP Foundation, researcher. It has likely been a difficult journey to find yourself where you are today, having to be scouted out by people you've never met before and invited to exams and interviews for a position you were never fully told of. We can imagine you already have a few questions, whether it be where you are, who is here with you, or why you were chosen to be here. Many of these questions will not be able to answer. Some of those we will. In the interest of not making new personnel go through their first several weeks guessing what each task force, site, and acronym actually stands for, we've compiled all the information you'd reasonably need, and can be given, into a single automated message, sent to every new recruit's personal inbox. We recommend going over these at your earliest convenience.
And the
And here we
first of
have our
these,
first hyperlink.
yep, it'll take us to a page that gives information regarding the SCP Foundation, and it includes the mission statement, a word from the administrator, sounds important, and other miscellaneous information we expect new recruits to be aware of. I already had this page pulled up. Oh, it looks like a memo. Interesting.
Does.
And it explains some other stuff. Okay. So I'll just go read into this memo, and it looks very interesting and cryptic. All right. Mankind in its present state has been around for 250,000 years, yet only a small fraction of that has been of any significance. Interesting. Wonder why that's bolded. So, what did we do for nearly 250,000 years? We huddled in caves and around small fires, fearful of things we didn't understand. It was more of it was more than explaining why the sun came up. It was the mystery of enormous birds with heads of men and rocks that came to life. So we called them gods and demons, begged them to spare us, and prayed for salvation. That's interesting, going a little bit into the details of how myths and legends and mythology came about.
Yeah,
Pretty
but
accurate so
given the
far.
Foundation's like knowledge and resources, maybe it's not just myths; it's actual history here.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
It
Guess I'll
could be,
find out.
yeah.
In time, their numbers dwindled and ours rose. Who's their numbers? Oh, like the myths and legends. Okay.
Like
And
the demons and the gods it just said.
yeah, well, I mean, those are in quotation marks, so it's like the, I
Yeah,
guess,
but like,
phenomena,
yeah,
creatures. Yeah. Uh, the world began to make more sense when there were fewer things to fear, yet the unexplained can never truly go away, as if the universe demands the absurd and impossible. Mankind must not go back to hiding in fear. No one else will protect us, and we must stand up for ourselves. While the rest of mankind dwells in the light, We must stand in the darkness and fight it, contain it, and shield it from the eyes of the public, so that others may live in a sane and normal world. We secure, we contain, we protect. The Administrator. Interesting. First impressions.
So
I think this guy knows more than he lets on.
definitely, yeah. Especially with just like the title, the administrator. You don't even get his name or like who he is.
Yeah, that's interesting. The idea that there is a necessity to not only protect the public from this sort of thing, but that a whole organization was created for the sake of doing so. Like it's almost like there's a sense of balance with like these phenomena being the chaos and the organization trying to bring order.
Yeah, but I wouldn't start painting the organization in a positive light yet. We don't know their true motivations.
Yeah,
They could be
yeah,
profiting off of it, just like most foundations and businesses and organizations. So we'll probably learn a lot more as we keep going throughout the series.
yeah. Mission statement. Operating clandestine and worldwide, the Foundation acts beyond
Clandestine.
conventional jurisdiction. Huh?
Clandestine.
Clandestine and
No,
worldwide. The Foundation acts beyond conventional jurisdiction with the task of containing anomalous objects, entities, and phenomena. Wow, beyond conventional jurisdiction. I wonder what that means.
I'm gonna say world governments maybe.
Hmm, I thought these were like branches of governments. I guess it's like its own separate thing.
What the foundation was a branch of government?
Yeah, I thought it was like the CIA. It's like the CIA, FBI, SCP.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a bit bigger than that.
Well, now that I read that, of course, of course. Um, we maintain as an extensive database of information regarding anomalies requiring special containment procedures, commonly referred to as SCPs. Oh, okay. So SCP has like a
Okay.
double meaning.
Yeah. Okay.
That's cool.
I never knew that.
Neither did
That's
I.
new to me.
That is very new to me as well. That's very cool. All of which undermine the natural laws that the people of the world implicitly trust in. That makes sense. We operate to maintain normalcy so that the worldwide civilian population can live and go on with their daily lives without fear, mistrust, or doubt in their personal beliefs, and to maintain human independence from extraterrestrial, extradimensional, and other extranormal influence. Do you think that that's a good idea to censor information?
Censor it? I mean, maybe sometimes I think it is.
Well, I
Like
mean specifically
I
in this instance, like for
in
instance,
this instance, yeah, I don't think I'd want to know if there was like some sort of demon lurking in the shadows at all times, waiting for me to do something specific and then kill me.
well, I mean, I guess that's a specific example. Yeah, sure. Uh,
It is a pretty specific example, but that's just what I thought of off the top of
I
my
mean, I
head.
mean, to be fair, I'm pretty sure like everything in here is super specific anyway, you know. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I think these will be a case by case basis. Like I think some of these maybe there's no need for them to be secured or contained. Maybe some of them. Why would it be so bad if they're known to the public?
I guess if they're harmless, it can't really hurt.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out more. Like I guess we'll come to those case by case basis when we get to them. Like I'm sure some of these like it makes perfect sense why it's locked in a cage somewhere. But
Yeah.
well, our mission is threefold: secure anomalies to prevent them from falling into the hands of civilians or rival agencies through extensive observation and surveillance, according to intercept anomalies at the earliest opportunity. Oh, acting to intercept. Okay. Interesting. So there's rival agencies. Probably
I guess.
they probably have like different philosophy behind like what. humanity should have available to them.
Yeah, like maybe the rival organizations try to like tell everybody about this stuff, whereas SCP wants to shut it down and make sure nobody knows.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how they'll play into this. That
I wonder
seems
how
like a
powerful the rival agencies are.
well, yeah, because like SCP Foundation, they just said like they're worldwide, right? Like they have the resources. So I wonder how big. You're right. I wonder how powerful the other rival agencies are. Contain. Contain anomalies to prevent spread of their influence or effects by either relocating, concealing, dismantling, or suppressing public dissemination of knowledge thereof. Okay, that makes sense. That's kind of their mission. Um, protects humanity as well as the anomalies themselves until such time that they are fully understood or new theories of science can be devised based on their properties. Okay, so they do have that notion that okay, if it can be useful, we can use it.
Yeah, the part about protecting the anomalies, I never really thought about that. I always thought that the anomalies were basically unkillable or and most of them were just, like indestructible, so they just need to contain. But protecting them makes sense if it's like a person with like some sort of one of a kind disease and they need to protect him until they can understand it.
Or maybe it's like one of the rival agencies, their mission is to wipe out anything that cannot be understood. And then
Yeah,
the foundation wants to protect them so that they can figure out how to utilize their properties or something.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Additional information will have been provided upon your joining us in pursuit of our goals. Welcome to the Foundation and good luck. And then this About Us section is about the wiki itself, licensing, social media,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Uh,
We could probably just go back to the hub.
yeah, yeah. So, for those of you that are interested, if you're more interested more about how the wiki works, if you're interested in posing content, writing content, creating content even. That this little blurb right here would be for you. And then there's also see also at the bottom different pages, which again a little bit more niche, so we won't worry about those.
And then with that, we'll move on to object classes, which is
Yes.
a rundown of the standard anomaly classification system and what each designation says about its respective item. Required reading for new researchers.
Oh, that's
Information
us.
regarding esoteric object classes may also be accessed.
Oh boy, this is required reading. Do your homework.
Yeah, don't want to get fired like me.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get fired like Nick.
Okay, I think I'll read this one
All right.
and we'll get started here. So, object classes. All anomalous objects, entities, and phenomena requiring special containment procedures are assigned an object class. An object class is a part of the standard SCP template and serves as a rough indicator for how difficult an object is to contain.
Mm,
In universe, object classes are for the purposes of identifying containment needs, research priority, budgeting, and other considerations. An SCP's object class is determined by a number of factors. The most important factors are the difficulty and the purpose of its containment.
okay. Okay. Difficulty and purpose of its containment. Interesting. So different anomalies could be contained for different reasons.
Well, obviously, yeah. Alright,
Yeah.
primary classes. These are the most common object classes used in SCP articles and make up the bulk of the objects. First, we have safe. Safe class SCPs are anomalies that are easily and safely contained. This is often due to the fact that the Foundation has researched the SCP well enough that containment does not require significant resources, or that the anomalies require a specific and conscious activation or trigger. Classifying an SCP as safe, however, does not mean that handling or activating it does not pose a threat.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
safe is just easy to do. You can put in a box and it'll be fine.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Just because it's easy to hold doesn't mean it's easy to not
Yeah.
be injured or something. That makes sense. I guess that's the same thing like in real life, like a gun.
Yeah, like a
If you,
gun, you could put it in a safe and it's not gonna hurt anyone.
it's
But if
not
you
gonna
take it
do
out,
anything.
you can still like shoot someone with it. So
Yeah,
it's
it
it's
can.
dangerous.
It's dangerous,
It's
but it's
dangerous, but it's not hard to contain.
yeah, yeah. Or like a spider,
I don't know, spiders can sometimes squeeze through tiny gaps.
I guess. All right, next.
Euclid. Euclid class SCPs are anomalies that require more resources to contain completely or where containment isn't always reliable. Usually, this is because the SCP is insufficiently understood or inherently unpredictable. Euclid is the object class with the greatest scope, and it's usually a safe bet that an SCP will be this class if it doesn't easily fall into any of the other standard object classes. As a note, any SCP that's autonomous or sapient is generally classified as Euclid due to the inherent unpredictability of an object that can think or act on its own,
Hmm.
like a spider.
What? A spider is not a sapient,
Yeah, but it's autonomous.
is it?
You
Is
can't
that?
control what it does.
Oh, I was thinking autonomous, like automaton, like you wind it up and
Oh,
then
like a
it.
robot?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
You
That
could
makes
make a spider
sense.
robot or a robot spider. I don't know
I,
why you would, but you could.
it's like those spiders that they have in like I don't. This is just a random memory. One time I went to Disney World and I went into the Bugs Life 4D theater and they had robot spiders that like come down from the ceiling, like giant
Oh yeah,
black
I remember
widows.
that. Yeah, that was in
Yeah,
Animal Kingdom, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah. That.
Dude, that freaked me out when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, freaked me out too. That. Why did they do that for kids? What are you thinking?
I don't know. It's supposed to be like nice and happy, and you like the bugs are your friends, but no, man. I lived in Florida. I know the bugs aren't my friends.
No, bugs are not your friends. Bugs are food, not friends. Well, actually, wait a second.
I would not eat a bug. Well, if it was a survival scenario, I might.
Or money.
Well, how much money?
$10, eat a spider. Random spider.
Eat a spider? Does it have to be alive?
Yes.
Okay, how big is a spider?
It's random. Could be one single
Random?
spider of anything.
Okay, well, if it's random, I think most species of spiders are pretty small, so maybe I'd do it. I think
For
I would do it
ten
actually.
dollars, you would do it?
Yeah, $10 is $10, dude.
That's crazy. It would take at least like 10,000 for me.
10,000? Dude, I eat
Yeah,
100 spiders for 10,000.
that's crazy. It's because the thing is that a lot of spiders have venom.
Well, venom doesn't mean that it's gonna poison you.
I'm pretty sure
Like
if
if it
you
was
were,
a poisonous is you bite it and then you get infected or like sick.
but if you like,
Venomous is if it bites you.
yeah, but you can still break open like the poison, the venom stuff, right?
Yeah, but if it goes in like your digestive tract, it could be resisted much better than if it bit you and like injected it into your bloodstream.
And I think that depends on the venom.
It does depend on the venom, yeah.
Anyways, that's
What were
completely
we
off
talking about?
topic. The next class.
Oh, okay. Keter. Keter class SCPs are anomalies that are exceedingly difficult to contain consistently or reliably, with containment procedures often being extensive and complex. The Foundation often can't contain these SCPs well due to not having a solid understanding of the anomaly, or lacking the technology to properly contain or counter it. A Keter SCP does not mean the SCP is dangerous, just that it is simply very difficult or costly to contain.
Oh, like an Enderman.
But Endermen are dangerous.
I mean, yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. Uh, yeah, that's all I got. That's the only example I could think of, which is pretty. Uh, never mind.
Yeah. I
Forget.
wasn't going to offer anything because I couldn't think of anything,
Maybe I shouldn't have offered anything.
I guess. It's like that old saying, better to keep your mouth shut and let people think you're stupid than to open it and erase all doubt.
I've never heard that before, but that's
You
funny.
haven't heard that? I
I,
use that quite often.
maybe I have. Wait, that sounds like the sort of thing that I probably have heard in the past, but I put it out of my memory, and then I think I've never heard it before. Like
I think it's like
opposite,
a Bible verse, like a
like
proverb or something.
it probably is. It probably is. But it's like reverse deja vu.
Reverse deja vu.
Yeah, instead of thinking that you've heard something before or seen something before and you're sure of it even though you haven't, it's like I don't think I've heard it before even though I have.
Okay, moving on. We have the secondary classes of objects. So, the following object classes are less frequently used and designate anomalies with unusual containment requirements. We have Thaumiel. Is that how you pronounce it? Thaumiel? Thaumiel?
I'd say Thamiel. Thamiel.
Okay, Thaumiel class SCPs are anomalies that the Foundation specifically uses to contain other SCPs. Even the mere existence of Thaumiel class objects is classified at the highest levels of the Foundation, and their locations, functions, and current status are known to few Foundation personnel outside of the O5 Council.
Five
And if I
council.
remember it, the O5 Council is like the top dogs of the SCP Foundation.
Okay, okay. So interesting. So it's like this would be an example of something they're containing for a specific purpose. Like, okay, we contain this so that we can also do other things, contain other SCPs, or affect people or governments. And of course, that'd be top secret because obviously these are useful, so they have a purpose, and people could sneak in and use them for themselves or something.
Yes, like a Thaumiel would be you put something inside the Thaumiel, and then the Thaumiel gets put inside something. Like a box
Mm,
within a box.
okay, okay, interesting.
Because you want to contain the Thaumiel too, since it's an SCP,
Yes,
but it's
yes.
also containing other things.
Yeah, I
I get
think
it.
I understand. I think I understand.
If that is the proper way to understand, we could just be completely wrong.
That is very true. Yep. In which case, we'll be proven wrong whenever we encounter a Thaumiel.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, we can get like somebody that loves SCP to get in the comments and tell us how much we're getting wrong. That way, we can
Oh, that'd be great.
we
I
can
mean,
get mad at them instead of improve our podcast.
yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Next up is Apollyon. Apollyon class SCPs are anomalies that cannot be contained, are expected to breach containment imminently, or some other similar scenario. Such anomalies are usually associated with world-ending threats or a K-class scenario of some kind, and require a massive effort from the Foundation to deal with.
Oh, so literally, yeah, end of the
Nothing
world's
we can do.
coming.
Oh well.
Meteor's on the way. It was sent here by something we don't know, but yeah, we're gonna die.
Wormwood.
Death Star's firing up the laser, and we don't have an X-wing to go in the vent. It's
We
over.
have the X-Wing, we just don't have Luke Skywalker.
Fair enough. Uh, that's
Okay.
just. Wait, why do you even have a classification? Well, actually, never mind. I take that back. I was gonna ask why do you even have a classification for that? Because at the end of the day, like, oh, if it's gonna come anyway, you can't contain it.
At
What's the
least
point
we
of
can call
classifying?
it something.
Yeah, yeah. You could at least
Uh-oh,
try
here
and
comes the Apollyon. We saw it coming a while ago, but, you know, what
or,
can you do?
or maybe there's some instances where maybe they're not able to secure it or contain it, but maybe like they can protect certain people from it.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll
Archon
get there.
class. We'll get there when we get there. Archon class SCPs are anomalies that could theoretically be contained, but are best left uncontained for some reason. Archon SCPs may be a part of consensus reality that is difficult to fully contain, or may have adverse effects if put into containment. These SCPs are not uncontainable. The defining feature of the class is that the Foundation chooses to not put the anomaly into containment.
Hmm.
I
Interesting.
have no idea what an example of that would be. Maybe we'll find one in an article somewhere.
Yeah. That seems like one of the more interesting ones so far.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see one, like an Archon class. Okay, Ticonderoga is our last secondary class, and a Ticonderoga class SCP cannot be contained, but also does not need to be contained. While these anomalies are similar to Archon class SCPs in that their containment is unnecessary, Ticonderoga class SCPs are distinguished by also not being containable, given the Foundation's current knowledge and resources. This may be due to their widespread or ubiquitous occurrence on Earth, despite the general public remaining unaware of their existence or anomalous nature. Although the Ticonderoga class also includes extraterrestrial anomalies beyond the current reach of the Foundation.
Oh, a meteor. I don't know. I
Wouldn't
just
wouldn't a
said
meteor need to be contained if it was like gonna blow up the planet?
no. You're right. Never mind. See, I need to stop trying to come up with examples for these.
Yeah, yeah. It'd probably make you seem more intelligent if you were just like, oh yeah, and that was it. That's all you
Yeah.
said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. See, it works. So
Yeah.
extraterrestrial anomalies, aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone sees
Yeah.
a flying saucer and it doesn't do anything, so they're like, ah, Ticonderoga. Can't contain it, but you know what? It didn't do anything, so I don't need to contain it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alright, you're overdoing it.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Are you?
Um. Yes.
Okay. Good, 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 good. Alright, non-standard object classes. Most of the following object classes indicate that an SCP has not yet been assigned a standard object class, or that it was previously assigned a standard object class but no longer requires containment. There are also additional object classes that are used less frequently than the ones listed above, the ones above being the secondary class ones,
Mm-hmm.
and they're known as esoteric or narrative object classes.
Okay.
So
So
explain. Oh,
yeah, I was just about to insert. I did see the hyperlink. In the hub, there is that link underneath the object classes link for the esoteric ones. Those are like very niche ones that are probably used on only one or two out of like the thousands, or like the narrative ones. They're used for like very hyper specific purposes. Um, so we're not gonna like go through every single one of those because when we get there, it'll be self explanatory.
yeah. Okay. Explained SCPs are commonly articles about anomalies that are completely and fully understood to the point where their effects are now explainable by mainstream science or phenomena that have been debunked or falsely mistaken as an anomaly. So it's like we didn't know what it was, but now we do, so it's no longer an anomaly. It's just like science,
Gravity.
gravity. Why Earth round? Because gravity. Ah,
Why apple fall on head?
Isaac Newton wanted it to.
Okay.
All right,
I oh go ahead.
neutralized SCPs are former anomalies that are no longer anomalous, either through having been intentionally or accidentally destroyed or disabled.
Oh, interesting.
So they
So
were anomalies. We didn't
yeah,
explain it. Now it's like inert or something.
yeah, just like completely gone, I guess. Um, I wonder since these obviously like are a little bit different in how they're classified. I wonder if like these ones either have a different class as well, like maybe it was safe but then it became neutralized, or it was Keter class but now it's explained.
Yeah, but it would still need to be contained.
Mm-hmm.
So the anomalous nature of it is gone, but it's still dangerous and needs to be contained. So it's still a Keter class.
Okay, okay. That
so
makes
they can
sense then.
have multiple classifications with the non-standard ones.
Okay, okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Decommissioned SCPs are anomalies that have been intentionally destroyed or stripped of their anomalous properties by the SCP Foundation. As the Foundation usually tries to contain rather than neutralize anomalous objects, this object class is only used when it is not possible to fully contain an anomaly, or when excessive expenditure of resources is required to keep an anomaly in containment. Decommissioning may also be performed for ethical reasons, particularly when containment necessitates extreme suffering or is unable to prevent excessive loss of life. To avoid any unnecessary losses, decommissioning anomalies requires authorization from a higher authority, such as the O5 Council, the Ethics Committee, or the Decommissioning Department.
Interesting. I have a feeling we'll be learning more about those places, but ethics
Just
committee?
an ethics committee.
That seems like something that makes sense for something like this, but like what kind of decisions are they making?
Yeah, what are their ethics?
Yeah, what ethics do they follow?
Is it morality or is it just like, because morality and ethics are two different things, so I wonder what they deem moral in the Foundation.
Well, considering it has a lot to do with like protecting the public at large, I have a feeling it's more ethics and not morality because I'm sure they make sacrifices for the ends justify the means kind of situations.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
But we'll probably get into all sorts of those eventually.
Yeah, we got a lot of learning to do here.
Hmm.
Alright, pending. SCP articles that have not yet been assigned an object class may be labeled as pending. This is used to indicate that the Foundation does not currently have enough information to assign an object class to the anomaly. This is a deliberate decision to emphasize that research is ongoing and isn't the same as the author not knowing which object class to assign.
Oh, thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, that last little phrase is like, hey, don't criticize the author. Could be continued research, alright?
Makes sense though.
Uncontained SCPs are SCPs that are not yet contained. Or sorry, SCPs that are not yet contained may be assigned an object class, often Keter, but in some articles, uncontained is used in place of an object class to emphasize that ongoing effort is required to establish or restore containment. So it's like an article about the process of containing something that isn't complete yet.
Hmm. Interesting. Like an
And
Enderman. No,
now,
I'm just kidding.
like an Enderman. Yeah, we'll keep saying Enderman over and over. Esoteric object classes. Additional object classes not listed above are generally created to further the narrative in our particular SCP and only used once, and so referred to as esoteric or narrative object classes. Esoteric object classes that are used often enough may eventually meet the requirements to be added to the list of secondary classes above. It is recommended to use one of the primary object classes listed here for most SCPs, only using another object class if there's a good reason to justify it in the article.
Hmm. Okay, so yeah, those are the ones that I mentioned earlier. That, like they mentioned, it's kind of only used once, just for narrative effect. So
Looks like the rest of this is a frequently asked question regarding
yeah, I think.
mostly the wiki, I think.
Sorry.
It looks like it's just an FAQ about the wiki with a little bit of actual information within it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that we would maybe want to go over a little bit is this first one. What
The
is the locked
lockbox
box
test.
test? You kind of were mentioning it earlier. I have heard of it a little bit before. I mean, you were bringing up reminders, but basically, for those of you that don't know, it's kind of like a informal, like they say here, an informal guideline used to determine an object's most appropriate object class. So basically, you think about it like this: if you put it in a locked box, leave it alone, nothing will happen, then it's safe. And like mentioned earlier, just because nothing happens if left alone doesn't mean like the object itself cannot cause great harm, but if it's easy to contain, like in a locked box, then it's safe. If you lock it in a box, leave it alone, and you're not entirely sure what will happen, then it's probably Euclid, which they said is like the most overarching class,
Yeah, the most
basically.
used one.
And then if you lock it in a box, leave it alone, and it will easily escape, then it's probably Keter. And if it is the box, then it's probably Thaumiel. So basically, it is used to contain other things. Um, and then if you extend the analogy to the other ones, if you don't need to, if it used to need a box but no longer does, it's neutralized. And if it's because of deliberate decision, then it's decommissioned. If it turns out it never needed a box, then it's explained. If it can't fit in the box and it's about to end the world, it's Apollyon. If you could have it in a locked box but chose not to, it's Archon. If you can't fit it in the box but it's not a big deal, it's probably Ticonderoga. And if you're not sure what box to put it in yet, then it's pending. And so they say, as special consideration, something that is autonomous, alive, and or sapient is almost always at least Euclid class. That is, if you lock a living thing in a box and forget about it, it will eventually suffocate or starve to death, and that's not a good outcome. So that makes a lot of sense. Even if it's like some person that's harmless and there's just something weird about them, if they require upkeep at all, then it probably has to be Euclid just because there's upkeep involved, you know?
Yeah, because if you could leave it alone, like it said, then it'd be safe. Like leave it alone, nothing happens, nothing bad happens. It says, then it's safe.
Hmm. But obviously, the SCP dying from starvation, that would be bad.
Or not. We don't know the nature of the SCP.
True. At that point, if it wasn't a bad thing for it to, like, die, then they probably would have neutralized it anyway.
Yeah, because the Foundation, as they said, they don't try to neutralize them, they just try to contain them.
Hmm. Unless, like, it's deemed best to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of these FAQs, they're just like questions that you all may have. You can come on the wiki and look at these if you want, just to run down. What if you find one in the wrong object class? What if it's dangerous? Should its object class be higher? Um, I thought we weren't decommissioning things anymore. When did that change? That's a wiki thing. And then what determines which object classes are added to the official list? Again, a wiki thing. And then at the bottom, it even says if you have any other questions, feel free to ask in discussion, which I'm pretty sure they have a forum area where you can, you know, talk about stuff. So,
Stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is the rundown on object classes.
So that'll take us back to the hub.
Yes, sir. And the next major topic here listed is the security clearance levels. Now, this is how their classification system works. A violation of clearance levels is grounds for instant contact termination and likely amnesticization. Amnesticization. So take this information to heart. So basically, um, you will forget everything and be fired.
Yeah, like me.
That is what happened to Nick. He does not remember where he was, so we'll have to find that out later. But um, yeah,
Yeah, right now I'm in like a dark room with metal walls. There's just a computer in front of me. That's about it.
well, there you go. And yet they're still letting him do this. So thanks.
Yeah, I guess uh I guess I lost my job and they're hiring me back or something. I don't know.
Uh, you don't remember, so it doesn't
I
matter.
don't remember. You're right.
So this is an overview of the security clearance levels. Foundation security clearances granted to personnel represent the highest level or type of information to which they can be granted access. However, having any given clearance level does not automatically grant access to all information at that level. They are only granted access to information on a need to know basis and at discretion of the designated disclosure officer overseeing their respective departments. Um, I presume this makes sense, just like a normal company or military hierarchy, like just because you're at a certain rank doesn't mean you automatically gain all information that that rank could possibly know, right? That also could be a security risk.
Yeah, like hiring somebody to work the cashier, the register at McDonald's doesn't mean that they get to know the entire 5-year plan of the company.
Mhm. Yeah. So now we get into the certain levels for these. Level 0 for official use only. Level 0 security clearances are given to non-essential personnel with no need to access information regarding anomalous objects or entities. It is typically held by personnel in non-secured clerical, logistics, or janitorial positions with no access to operational data. So if they're just at a site, they don't even clean the areas with the anomalies in there. They're just kind of there doing taxes, maybe. I don't know. Would this even
Yeah,
need
these
to
are
do
your truck
taxes?
drivers
Oh,
and
truck drivers too.
your bathroom cleaners. These are your secretaries who are just telling you who just showed up at the facility.
And this is the exact reason why these clearance levels are needed. As someone who's worked in janitor, actually Nick's worked janitorial work too. We both done that. If we knew that we were cleaning bathrooms in a facility where there was like a dinosaur, um, I don't think I'd be able to focus on my job. I'd probably be looking for the dinosaur. Uh,
Yeah, I'd be
that's
like peeking through windows looking for any kind of giant teeth anywhere.
yeah, but that's just me. You know, it
Yeah,
probably would.
if I was a truck driver and I knew what I was transporting, I might act a little differently, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Which is the opposite of what they want. So
Yeah, these are probably people that could do the job for the foundation and then seek employment elsewhere without any kind of information leak.
yeah. All right. Level 1, confidential. Level 1 security clearances are given to personnel working in proximity to, but with no direct, indirect, or informational access to anomalous objects or entities. Level 1 security clearances are typically granted to personnel working in clerical, logistics, or janitorial positions at facilities with containment capability or otherwise must handle sensitive information. So I guess this is more of like a situation where maybe they have to like clean an enclosure of like an animal that is not in the wild or something.
Yeah, I guess like their cleaning duties would be closer to the object, but not with the object present.
Yeah, like it's kind of impossible for them to not know what, like there's something going on, but they're kind of like NDA, don't worry
Like,
about it.
gee, this is a lot of blood in this room. Something weird's going on. I just don't quite know what.
Yeah, yeah, but it's fine. They pay me good, so
They do pay you good, probably.
probably.
I imagine getting a job as like for mopping up blood would pay a lot more than other jobs because of the nature of it.
Yeah, crime scene cleaners, they get good money.
Like the illegal ones.
No, no, they have people that clean up after crime scenes. That's a real job.
Okay, because I thought you were talking about like John Wick stuff.
What? What do you mean John Wick stuff?
Yeah, and John Wick, Keanu Reeves, he was like he had contact with this cleaner, and every time he would kill people in like his professional assassin job or whatever, he would call them up and they would come and clean up the bodies so that the police wouldn't find out.
Interesting. Okay, so that is a real illegal job as well. Okay. No, no, no. I wasn't
That
talking
was a
about that.
movie. I don't know if it's a real legal job or not.
Oh, actually, you know what? Fair enough. No, no, no. I am talking about like the real actual crime scene cleaner job. Like you were like basically contracted by police departments like, "Oh, there was a homicide here. Come clean up the after it's all, inspected and evidence is collected and everything." Eventually, you can't just leave blood and guts and whatever else was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, their jurisdiction would be like public areas, but break-ins to like private places, I'm pretty sure you end up having to clean it yourself if you own the property.
Really? Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, like nobody's gonna show up and clean your carpet for you.
Well, that's what I meant. Like, okay, yeah, for public areas, yeah, obviously they get public servants to do that. But I mean, like, you can contract someone to do that for you. Like, that's a position. Like, you can hire
Yeah,
someone.
I imagine you could hire someone to do it in the private sector too.
Yeah. But they're like they are specialized in that. Like that's how they make a living by cleaning crime scenes specifically. Which I mean,
Yeah,
you'd probably have to live in a high crime rate area to do that. But
yeah, to get good business, if you were
yeah,
to go into that field of work, you have to live in like Chicago or something.
yeah. Anyways, level 2, restricted. Level 2 security clearances are given to security and research personnel that require direct access to information regarding anomalous objects and entities in containment. Most research staff, field agents, and containment specialists hold a level 2 security clearance. So basically, these are like the lowest level people that actually are directly involved in the anomaly side of things.
Yeah, these are like your average SCP guy is level 2.
Yeah. Level 3, secret. Level 3 security clearances are given to senior security and research personnel that require in depth data regarding the source, recovery circumstances, and long term planning for anomalous objects and entities in containment. Most senior research staff, project managers, security officers, response team members, and mobile task force operatives hold a level 3 security clearance. So these are the people that are like actively involved in securing, containing, and protecting the anomalies and people. Um,
Yeah, these are your full-time SCP workers. They
yeah.
don't have jobs outside or any hopes of getting outside of the SCP. It's just what they do
hmm
until they retire.
Yep. And they've been doing it either for a long time or they're really serious about it. I know the mobile task force operatives, that's a whole nother section. There's a lot of these groups that they're called in for specific purposes. They deal with like a specific kind of SCP in the sense like, oh, this is like a weird animal that needs to be hunted down and tracked in the jungle. Okay, you have a task force for that. Or you have a, um, a, an infestation of like fungus or something. I don't know. Fungus among
Or like
us.
there's an SCP inside of a city. These guys are called in. This
Yeah.
task force specifically is called in because it's a urban area.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know how to deal with large crowds very well, so they get called in.
Exactly. And they on the hub there is a link like that lists every single mobile task force, which we will not be going over, but
Yeah, there's like dozens and dozens of them.
there's so many of them, probably over 100, all with like their specific cases and logs and descriptions, and they are mentioned in whatever articles they are a part of. So when we get to those, we will also look at those more in depth.
Yeah, if we see one of these task forces in an article, then we'll take a look at them and see what they're all about.
Exactly. Next level, level 4, top secret. Oh, so you got secret and top secret. Perfect. Level 4 security clearances are given to senior administration that require access to site-wide and or regional intelligence as well as long-term strategic data regarding Foundation operations and research projects. Level 4 security clearances are typically only held by site directors, security directors, or mobile task force commanders. So these are kind of like the people who run things day to day. Like they are in charge of a facility that contains a number of SCPs. They tell everyone else what to do, or they work with the security director, and that guy's in charge of security protocol. Everyone answers to him, and then the task force commanders, it's kind of self explanatory, whoever leads the task force.
These are your upper management. If you're the manager, then these guys are the regional managers.
Yes. Uh, then you have the top level clearance, level 5, Thaumiel. Oh, they're reusing something. I wonder if that has. in effect. Level 5 security clearances are given to the highest ranking administrative personnel within the Foundation and grant effectively unlimited access to all strategic and otherwise sensitive data. Level 5 security clearances are typically only granted to O5 council members and selected staff. Okay, that makes sense. If you're part of the council that runs this thing, you need access to everything. So there you go.
It's interesting that they would classify it as Thomule when that was the SCP class that is used to contain other SCPs.
Yeah, because they're the ones that like run the Foundation, right? So it's like they're the ones that contain everything.
Yeah, but the Thomule itself is an SCP.
Oh wait.
So it's interesting that specifically the O5 council members would be the same classification as an SCP.
Hmm. I wonder if they are like. Does that mean they are an SCP? Ah, we're getting too much in the conspiracy here already.
Give
That's
us the
crazy.
Mr. Incredible again.
We get there when we get there. All right, so those are just like the security level clearances for pretty much any staff. But then you have personnel classifications. So these classifications are assigned to personnel based on proximity to potentially dangerous, anomalous objects, entities, phenomena. And it'll like deem basically their importance. Um, Confidential, these security clearances, those are like for what accesses you have, but the classifications of personnel, that's
Personnel
like, yeah,
classifications.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how importantly deemed you are in an event of like something happening. So, for instance, Class A personnel are those deemed essential to Foundation strategic operations and are not allowed direct access to anomalies under any circumstances. When circumstances require Class A personnel to be in direct proximity to such anomalies, such as in the case of facilities housing containment units, Class A personnel are not allowed access to the areas of the facility containing such anomalies and are to be kept in secured areas at all times. In case of emergency, Class A personnel are to be immediately evacuated to a designated and secure offsite location. O5 council members are always Class A personnel. I guess this would be considered like experts, maybe like experts or obviously the O5 council members, basically people in charge.
People that are just too important to lose to an accident. So they're
Hmm.
not even allowed near any kind of anomaly.
Interesting. But I guess, I mean, there may be. I don't know. I've only read like a couple SCP articles, and I guess there are like opportunities for accidents and things like because they're unknown. But like, surely there are some where it's like, okay, what could go wrong? You know? But I guess even asking that question is inherently understanding that there's a risk involved. So,
Yeah, that question is just foreshadowing.
oh, here's a tube of toothpaste. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? It's a bomb.
It's a bomb. Okay.
Bomb!
Class
Get
B
out, Mr.
personnel.
President.
Oh, get down, Mr. President, from the tube of
Yeah,
toothpaste.
get down, Mr. President, from the toothpaste. That's why the TSA does their job so well.
Oh, that makes so much more sense now.
Toothpaste is always a bomb.
Yeah, the TSA is actually the sister organization to the SCP.
Exactly. SCP deals in anomalies. TSA deals in toothpaste. It's like two
Ex-
sides of the same coin right here.
oh man. Class B personnel are those deemed essential to local Foundation operations and may only be granted access to anomalies that have passed quarantine and have been cleared of any potential mind affecting agents or mimetic agents. In the event of containment breach or hostile activity against a Foundation facility, Class B personnel are to be evacuated to the same offsite locations. So they are also essential and can have like uh, limited access, but they're still deemed, okay. You're really important. Let's not let you get in any sticky situations.
Yeah, but they are allowed near objects, entities, and anomalies, whereas Class A are completely restricted from it.
Class C personnel are personnel with direct access to most anomalies not deemed strictly hostile or dangerous. Class C personnel that have had direct contact with potentially mind affecting or mimetic properties may be subject to mandatory quarantine and psychiatric evaluation as deemed necessary. Interesting. In the event of containment breach or hostile action against a Foundation facility, non combatant Class C personnel are either to report to secure lockdown areas or evacuated to discrete off oh at the discretion of on-site security personnel in the case of a site-wide breach or other catastrophic event. So I presume these guys would be
Majority
defense.
of
Yeah.
personnel.
hmm
So, like, I guess these would be mobile task force operatives.
Yeah, if they have to deal with getting stuff back in containment, they can't just be getting out of there. They got to do their job. Uh,
And I imagine most researchers would be Class C as well, because they have to work with the anomaly
yeah,
directly.
yeah. That's interesting though. Class C personnel that have had direct contact with potentially mind affecting or mimetic properties. So I guess a lot of SCPs can affect you mentally in different ways.
Yeah, they give you the memes,
The
mimetic
memes.
properties, dude. It's crazy what a meme can do to you.
Okay, now we get into the unfortunate classifications. Class D personnel are expendable personnel used to handle extremely hazardous anomalies and are not allowed to come into contact with Class A or B personnel. Class
You
D
just can't
personnel,
come into contact with them at all.
it's too dangerous, man. You can't lose them. These guys, oh well.
Class D are just that disgusting.
Class D personnel are typically drawn worldwide from the ranks of prison inmates convicted of violent crimes, especially those on death row. Ooh. In times of duress, Protocol 12 may be enacted, which allows recruitment from other sources, such as political prisoners,
Oh
what?
boy.
Refugee populations,
Oh
oh no,
boy.
and other civilian sources that can be
Jeez, I
transferred
wonder what those sources could be.
into Foundation custody under plausibly deniable circumstances. What? Huh, I wonder what the ethics committee is cooking up here.
I don't know if the ethics committee knows about this, yeah?
Don't let them cook again.
Actually, they probably created Protocol 12, never mind.
Yes, they probably did. Guys, we just need some more people to handle this raw plutonium.
Yeah,
Uh,
people that just won't be missed, you know?
yeah, those political prisoners.
Or, Italians?
Why Italians?
Would you notice if Italians started going missing?
Um, I'm gonna say no, but that's because I don't live in Italy.
Fair enough.
uh, in the event of a catastrophic. Oh wait, I skipped something. Whoops. Class D personnel are to be given regular mandatory psychiatric evaluations and are to be administered an amnestic of at least Class B strength or terminated at the end of the month.
Oh,
That's crazy. So if you're just deemed okay, yep, that you've been affected too much, you're done.
or they just don't need you anymore, but they don't want to put you back in the prison, they just kill you?
They can't put you back in the prison. You know too much.
Well, don't the amnestics get rid of your memory?
Oh, actually, yeah, I guess. Oh, yeah, I wonder what Class B strength. I guess that means that there's different varying strengths. Like, there's like the
Of
full
amnestics?
brainwashing, and then there's like the Men in Black.
Yeah, look here, please.
Yep.
Wipe them.
Uh,
Oh, we'll find out more as we read.
mhm. In the event of a catastrophic site event, Class D personnel are to be terminated immediately, except as deemed necessary by on-site security. Wow. So if something goes down, like, forget it. You're not surviving.
Yeah, the first people to go are your Class D. Not
Oh,
because
but
the entity or the SCP gets them. It's just because they get executed immediately.
isn't
Like
that
they're just
even just a
gone.
waste of resources though? Like you have limited, like say there's a breach of like some dangerous kid or class thing. It's coming and you're with like your security personnel. You have the D class personnel with you and you're just like, "Oh, time to terminate them." Isn't that like a waste of resources? Like you have limited stopping power to fight this thing, whatever it is. And like you're just like, "Oh wait, but first, let's make sure like these people that could potentially help us fight this thing that we follow protocol."
Or you could use them to buy yourself time. It doesn't say you have to terminate them with like a gun or anything. You can break their ankles and then run away and leave them to whatever entity is coming after them.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I
Well,
don't know. There may be very severe punishments for people who break protocol.
well, they're still getting terminated, and it's immediate.
Is it immediate?
I mean, that depends on the SCP.
Exactly.
I mean, we can get creative with it, right? It doesn't have to be bullet to the temple.
Hey, if I'm working at this foundation, I'm gonna be a researcher. Ain't no way I'm gonna be a security officer.
Me, I'd be a security officer. I would contain that thing.
I would research
Like
that
I'm
thing.
like I'm just that good. I'm just that good.
Yeah, if it gets breached, it's your fault, not me, buddy.
No, no, no. It breaches. It was someone else's fault. It gets put back into containment. That's my fault. I'm just him. I'm that guy.
That's not how it works. That hey, there's a reason you got fired. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
True, and I don't know what that reason is.
That's also true. Anyways, well, if that's what Class D is, then I wonder what Class E is. I genuinely don't know. Let's find out. Class E personnel is a provisional classification applied to field agents and containment personnel that have been exposed to potentially dangerous effects during the course of securing and establishing initial containment over a newly designated anomalous object, entity, or phenomenon. Oh, okay. Uh, Class E personnel are to be quarantined as soon as possible, monitored, and screened for potentially harmful changes in behavior, personality, physiology, and may only return to duty after being fully debriefed and cleared by psychiatric and medical staff. So that makes sense. If they don't know what something is and you've been in contact with it, stay away until we know you're safe.
Yeah, it's just standard quarantine procedures, I guess, for like CDC or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Except behavior, personality effects. That's a bit different.
yeah. But I mean, I don't think they would let someone come back in unless they knew 100% they were okay.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And then lastly, the last level of like classification, this isn't really classification, it's more just descriptors of titles that different jobs have, different people have in this foundation. Uh, I'm not going to read these word for word because a lot of them are self explanatory. So, for instance, site staff, these are the people that work on site in the facilities that are actively containing anomalies. First is the containment specialist. They have two main roles. Firstly, containment teams are called upon to respond to confirmed cases of anomalous activity and establish containment over those objects and transport them to the nearest containment site. So they react, they hear about something, they go out, investigate it, and hopefully contain it. In addition, containment engineers and technicians are called upon to devise, refine, and maintain containment units. So this also would include people who come up with like the contraptions or perimeters or um, anything else that you would require to contain these things. If it's special, then you get the engineers on there, the containment specialists, and they will contain it. Researcher, self-explanatory. Um, they're the smartest. They will grab smart people from around the world, um, with specialists in every field imaginable, from chemistry and botany to more special fields like theoretical physics and xenobiology. Um, the goal of the Foundation's research projects is to gain a better understanding of unexplained anomalies and how they operate. So basically, anything you would think a researcher would do, they're doing it. They're uh,
Researching,
researching. Yeah,
studying, hitting the books,
that would be
doing
me.
lots of
That'd be my job. That's what I would want to do. This next one, security officer. This would be a simple guard. That's Nick. He just simple guard.
yeah, dude, I could do such a good job of like standing in front of a door with like a gun and just stand there for hours. I could
Uh,
do that. I could do that.
these officers are tasked with maintaining physical and information security for Foundation projects, operations, personnel. Okay, so they protect like the physical premises, and then they also will guard information. That makes sense. They're primarily drawn and recruited from the military and law enforcement, which makes sense. Uh, that way, they have experience. They're trained in use of all types of weapons as well as variety of contingency plans, which I think were discussed in the execution of Class D personnel. But uh, these personnel are also responsible for information security, which was mentioned, making sure documents are not misplaced and that computers are safe from hacking and stuff like that. They are also the first line of defense against hostile outside forces for Foundation facilities, which I suppose would be the rival organizations and stuff.
Yeah. Or like if your facility is in Kentucky and a bunch of rednecks think you're doing something with aliens, then they show up with their trucks. They try to take the facility. That'd be who you fight against.
Area 51.
Area 51. They can't stop all of us. I remember.
Man,
They
crazy
did in
times.
fact stop everyone.
Well, no one really went to get in, so.
Yeah, there was like 100 people that actually showed up, and they didn't really do anything. Then
Yep.
again, what did we expect them to do?
I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, exactly. Like, what are you going to do? Like, there's definitely highly armed guards. They're not going to let you get in.
But even inside the base, like, where are you gonna go?
You don't know. You don't know what's inside.
Exactly. You're just wandering around, no idea where to go or where anything leads.
You just
Well,
find
if
a
there even
sign.
is anything in there.
Could you imagine? It's just a facility that's just empty, just to trick people.
No, it's just like a storage site for like for like air filters.
Air filters. What?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of something boring.
Definitely is boring. Anyways, then there's the tactical response officers. They're part of response or tactical teams. They're highly trained and armed, and they're tasked with escorting containment teams with dangerous anomalies or going after hostile groups of interests, and they're involved in defending the Foundation as a whole. They're effectively like the Foundation's version is described as military units, which makes sense, and they're ready to deploy at a
Special
moment's notice.
forces.
Yeah. And then oh, actually, it's not. Then you have two types of field personnel. You have the normal field agents. They're like the eyes and ears, basically spy operatives. They go undercover, collect information, get leads on more anomalies, and then they can contact for help when they know that there's a confirmed anomaly. That way, they can kind of like be the first to respond, right? Like it wouldn't make sense if the Foundation was only relying on sources from outside the Foundation, because then like people are always constantly finding stuff. But it's best if you have people in the field actively searching so that they can be the first ones to get to it. And then
Yeah.
the mobile
So
task
I don't
force.
think the SCP has like a hotline for any anomalies you might find in your daily life.
No, exactly. It's the whole point is for it to be secret, right? So then you have the mobile task force operatives, which we already kind of mentioned, but they're specialized units, and they're comprised of veteran field personnel. So people who have seen a thing or two, so they know a thing or two. Um,
They are farmers. Bum
they
bum
are,
bum 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 bum.
yeah, exactly, and they're good with combat. They're good with containing, and they're called in for like their specialty, basically. And then the last kind of job here is the administration. You have the site directors, which, as already mentioned, they're the highest ranking personnel on locations, and they're responsible for the continued operations and containments of the anomalies on sites. And then they will turn in reports to the O5 Council, which is the highest level here mentioned. The O5 Council member, they will refer it refers to the committee consisting of the highest ranking directors of the Foundation with complete access to all information. The council oversees all operations and directs its long term strategic plans. Due to the sensitivity of their positions, the council members may not come into direct contact with any anomalous object, entity, or phenomenon. Therefore, the identities of all O5 council members are classified, and they are only referred to by their numeric designation, 1 through 13. Interesting.
So it's the O5 Council, but there's 13 members.
Huh. Yeah, that's weird.
Or maybe like authors kept adding on members of the O5 past 5.
Oh, that might be it. Huh. Well,
Well, that's our security clearance.
yep, those are the security clearances, which hopefully gives a better understanding of the hierarchy within these sites and how things are contained. Um, and I think we have one more page that'll be worth looking over, um, which I believe are uh, a list of the different departments. Because the facilities page, if I'm not mistaken, is a map. Yeah. So I have on screen is the link for the facilities, and it basically is an explanation of the site or area that you're looking at. So if you look at the article, it says, "Oh, it's contained in site 314 here in this top part of Canada." Then you can go on this map; it'll show you where it is, and then you can look down here, find it. Oh, I'm failing at finding it. Um, okay, so you can just click on a random one, and it will give you the general information of it. Obviously, whenever these come up, we'll take a look at their general area, what's around them, what they do, etc. But as of right now, there's no need to go through every single one.
Right.
I mean, honestly, the departments page is also pretty long. I think we should probably just cover um, the administration ones because the rest of them, they're I think it's like the same issue like with the mobile task force page where it would be redundant to go over all of them now, which you're probably not going to remember. And then when we come across it, we're going to go over it again anyway. Um, but we could at least take a look at some of the departments.
So just the administration ones?
Yeah, I think because that goes over like the council, the ethics committee, and then the record keeping people.
Okay. I'll start us off with this little memo at the top of the page here.
Yeah.
File overview. The Foundation's mission is to secure, contain, and protect. While unified behind these goals, achieving them requires a wide variety of approaches. This has necessitated the creation of numerous departments, each specializing in a specific task, discipline, or field. Some of the more notable departments are listed below, although it should be noted that these are not the only departments, and a more comprehensive list can be found elsewhere.
Hmm. Interesting. So,
Administration.
yeah, there'd be even more. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of departments here, but we'll do administration, and that'll be it for departments. O5 Council. The O5 Council, also known as the Council of Overseers or Overwatch Command, is the highest authority within the SCP Foundation. The council members have level 5 security clearance, which we've just discussed means they know everything, and it gives them unredacted access to the entire SCP database. While uninvolved in routine matters and deliberately separated from any contact with the anomalous, when O5 councils do choose to intervene, their word is final. The exact number, identities, and roles of the O5 council members is strictly classified.
That's crazy. So, literally anything they say goes.
The exact number? But isn't it 1 through 13?
Uh, well, maybe if like so maybe it's like 1 through 13, that's who is on there, but like if they give an order, it doesn't say their number. Maybe it just says from the O5 Council.
Maybe. Ooh, ethics committee. There we
Oh,
go.
here we go. This is what we wanted to get to.
Okay. While the O5 Council decides what is safe, the Ethics Committee determines what is ethical. Although the Foundation takes a pragmatic approach to moral quandaries, the Ethics Committee ensures that only necessary sacrifices are made, and that the most ethical option is always chosen. Foundation personnel should be aware that the Ethics Committee is observing, evaluating, and passing judgment.
Passing judgment. What?
I kind of want to click on what is ethical in
That's
order
I
to.
literally just did that. I just did that. Okay, whoa.
Oh, it's.
It's like a full thing of dialogue.
Oh, okay, that's a lot of dialogue.
Huh. Interesting.
Do you
About
want to
about
read it
this.
or
Um
just skip past?
uh it looks to be pretty long. I'm trying to find like if there's a point. Uh it appears that there's this man named Dr. Feldon and he's being interrogated and he's being asked, "Were you involved in the containments of these SCPs?" Uh and he says, "Yes, at some point." And then he says, "I didn't have a choice." Hmm. Didn't have a choice to do what? Well, that's an interesting question. He probably, as part of the ethics committee, decided to do something that uh, would be deemed not very moral, but
Yeah, I'm like skimming it, but I don't see anything concrete about what they say is ethical here.
yeah, I think it's more of like a here's what interview says. Let's leave it at that, you know.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think we'll have to skip past it.
yes. Oh my. The same thing is for the necessary sacrifices page, but it's even longer.
Oh well, I guess we'll have to keep going with administration departments.
Yeah, there's probably some very interesting information, and we don't mean to skip over or say that it's not important, but for the sake of time on the episode, and also just so that we're giving you guys the most basic information that if the things like this come up, then we can come back to it later and give it more detailed. But we're just trying to give a broad overview. So basically, what you need to know is these people, they are the ones that decide what sacrifices are deemed necessary, what's deemed ethical or not. And from the looks of those documents, it seems it is not always the popular decision.
Yeah, it also doesn't say if the ethics committee overrides anything that the O5 council might say. So
Hmm.
I don't know which one actually has more authority. Anyway, since we don't know that right now,
I mean, I
we'll
would
move
say
on
that
to
the
record
well,
keeping
I'd say
and
that the
information
O5,
security
I say that the O5 Council has more power because it says their word is final.
when they intervene
Yeah,
with an anomaly.
yeah, yeah. Well, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's not, they're not always involved, so yeah.
Okay. Record keeping and information security administration. The Record Keeping and Information Security Administration, RAISA, is responsible for keeping the Foundation database secure and intact. RAISA controls access to classified information, deciding what to redact and what to review. What to reveal. They also maintain backups of the SCP database, protect documents against intrusion and infiltration, and monitor inconsistencies in Foundation files to discern whether the cause is mundane or anomalous. Foundation employees may encounter notes from RAISA appended to SCP documentation, often signed by RAISA Director Maria Jones and providing context for the information that follows.
That seems pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I don't know what much to say about that. It's just
Yeah.
record keeping and information security. That's all there is.
A lot of these other departments, they seem very interesting, like just by their names alone. Like the Alchemy Department or the Anomalous Entity Engagement Division, um, the Anti-Memetics Division. Oh, that's interesting. Whenever you put your mouse on it, it appears, but otherwise it's blank.
Oh,
That's
I was
cool.
wondering why I was blank.
That's cool. Artificial Intelligence Applications Divisions, Cryptozoology, Decommissioning, which we learned about a little bit earlier. The Department of Deletions. I'm pretty sure that's a wiki like self insert there. Uh, Department of Entomology, so for bugs. The Threat Tactical Response Authority. The Fire Suppression Department. Huh. I wonder what they do.
I wonder what they do.
Yeah. Department of Miscommunications. That's interesting. Department of Mythology and Folkloristics. Interesting. Uh,
Folkloristics. Is that a real thing?
I don't
Folkloristics?
I don't think so. The Pataphysics Department. The Department of Other.
Other?
Oh, I think it's just a department where like if you work there, it says responsible for the containment of SCP objects that don't fit neatly into the other department's purview. So, uh, Department of Procurement and Liquidation, Department of Surrealistics. Surrealistics, interesting. Uh, Department of Tactical Theology?
Ethical theology?
Tactical Theology. That sounds interesting.
Responsible for assisting in the capture, containment, and neutralization of theological anomalies.
Whoa.
So what, they would like capture Jesus or something?
Maybe. I don't know. I
It's kind of blasphemous right there.
is that Joseph Smith?
Oh, we gotta get the magic underwear.
Oh my goodness. I am interested to see when they pop up. That's all I'm saying.
That'd be fun.
Uh
I think
the,
those ones would be a lot of fun to read.
oh
Anything with
yeah.
the Department of Tackle Theology in it.
Oh yeah. uh, Telecommunications Monitoring Office, probably just wiretaps, uh, Temporal Anomalies Department, the Department of Unreality. Overview. Department of Unreality handles a very specific subset of anomalous phenomena affecting. Okay, I see. It's a joke. They cover things that don't exist. Okay.
Yeah, they don't even have. Wait, what happens if I click on the uh the department logo thing? Oh, the file does not exist. That's funny.
Get it? Because it's unreality.
Yeah, it doesn't
Uh,
exist. It's unreality.
yeah.
Link to
So,
further information. Oh, never mind.
oh, list of
There's nothing
pages
interesting.
tagged with it. Okay. So yeah, each of these departments they do have. Even if you just listen to the names, that hopefully gives you a little bit of an idea. We don't want to go through all of them in great detail, but they will all have underneath their description a link to articles tagged with them. So if an article involves this department in some way, it'll be listed underneath the department description. If you're interested in a particular one, um, tactical theology, let's just use it as an example. If we click on the link, you can see that um, the SCPs that involve it are pretty late in the list, starting at like 3,300 and going up to like 8,800. So a lot of there are a lot of them. There's like how many would that be? Roughly
87
60,
looks like.
60 or so of them, but they're all later in there. So we probably wouldn't come across these very soon at all, but it's very interesting.
Yeah,
So that's a list of the
yeah, it is.
departments. When it comes back to the hub page, there are some other lists here, um, such as the mobile task force page, which, as I mentioned, as you can see here on the sidebar, this is a very, very, very long web page with all these different task forces, all tasked with different things. We will not be going through all of them, but uh, when they do come up in articles, we will look at them a little bit more in depth. Um, the personnel dossier, also something not necessarily necessary to go through. It's just a list of like recurring characters that are involved in different anomalies and that work on different sites. Um, Again, when those people come up, we'll talk about them. Uh, the groups of interest and locations of interests are very closely linked to anomalies themselves or are like the rival organizations, I believe. So I don't even want to click on those and get spoiled because I presume when they come up, it'll be very interesting to figure out the lore. Um, but just keep in mind, there are groups of interest and locations of interest that are not necessarily SCPs themselves. And then the last thing that's listed there is the K class end of the world scenarios, um, things that they can't really control. And they're also mentioned in SCPs as specific scenarios that can occur.
And after that, we get a glossary of terms, which I feel like we can look those up during any stories. If we see something we don't understand or we
Oh,
don't
yeah, that's
know, we can look that up and figure out what it is.
a good idea.
There's a log of anomalous items, which is objects contained by the Foundation that don't get an SCP designation. A log of extra normal events, which are unusual events which occurred too suddenly for the Foundation to intervene or designate. I think is what that says. And then the log of unexplained locations, locations that are anomalous but don't warrant attention from the Foundation beyond basic concealment.
Hmm,
And that
interesting.
is the conclusion of the introductory, I don't know, email memo that a researcher, which would be us, would receive.
Yeah. Hopefully. this gave a good overview. I know it gave me a lot of extra context and background information, and I definitely look forward to getting into the SCP articles themselves. Uh,
Oh yeah, I feel like I'm way more prepared after reading through this stuff
yes,
than
yes,
if we
yes.
just went in with this first episode. So I hope it wasn't too much of an information overload for you listeners, but it was pretty fun to learn about this stuff, and I'm excited to get into this wonderful world of SCP, and I hope you guys are too.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely I feel likewise that the information was great. I personally am someone that loves like world building, so all this information like the hierarchy, the classifications, the even like the map that shows the the different facilities across the globe. This is so cool. Like you can zoom in to a different area and just look at all the different sites and where they are. And then when you read about them, you can come back and look at this and be like, "Oh wow, why does New England have like a bunch of sites there? Who knows? I guess we'll find out." I guess actually this makes sense because it's kind of by. Well, actually, no, that's not in Virginia. Never mind. There's what is that? 3 sites in New Jersey. Anyways,
Jersey?
yeah, that's it. It's interesting, but definitely a great introduction. Um, Obviously, feel free to leave comments, critiques as to what information we're getting wrong in the comments. We welcome it. We will obviously ignore it. Disagree with you, even if you know
Yeah.
everything about this. So,
Yeah,
um,
if you're right, then we say you're wrong. It's fun. We're
yeah,
gonna we're gonna we're gonna make fun of you too,
yeah.
and we're
Isn't the
gonna
whole
have a
point of
good
this to
time.
have our own head canon?
Yeah, because it's not all one giant canon. It's a lot of inconsistencies with stories. I know that. I read that somewhere. Trust me.
The SCP um, secure protect secure contained podcast source. Trust me, bro. Um,
Trust me, bro. I know this stuff.
yes.
How? Don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
But yeah, uh, that'll conclude the very first episode of the
Yeah,
Secure Contained
thanks
Podcast.
for listening. Thanks for bearing with us. It was probably a struggle, and it will continue to be a struggle as we go forward. But it might be fun, and we can learn some interesting information, both about writing itself and about these fun little SCPs.
Yes. Uh, we look forward to recording and posting the next episode for you all, starting with the original one and then moving on from there. Thank you all for
Yeah,
listening, and we'll catch you next time.
yeah. Bye bye. Bye.
Bye.